morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on when you're watching this video, where you are. My name is Luke Lawal. I'm the CEO and founder of HBCU Buzz, and we're here with another episode of President's Corner. And I'm really excited about this episode for a number of reasons. One, because Rick Gallot is not only the president of Grambling State University, but he's also on the other side of 1911. So I'm so interested to have this conversation because one, I always tell my friends and friends that are aspiring to be friends that it's never too late, It's never too late. Gallo, are you there?
I'm here. I am here. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I heard it's never too late, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's a great day to be a Tiger. And look, thank you, Luke. I appreciate you having me on. What a great honor. I've been looking forward to this interview for a while. So look, thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about you. How did you get to Grambling State? Give me a little bit about your background and how's it going?
Yeah, sure. So that's an easy one. I was born and reared here in the Grambling community. I attended nursery school through college on this same campus. My childhood home is literally across the street from the university campus. My mother taught history here for many years, 44 years to be exact. And my dad was always involved in politics. He's a barber by trade, owned the liquor store, so he was pretty popular during that time. So I am a product of this community, and so it's interesting how we as children set these goals and aspirations. So I said I would never live in Grambling, and of course I live in Grambling. I said I would never work at Grambling. I'm president, and I said I would never go into politics because of my dad always being in politics, and of course I served on the city council and the state legislature in both the House and the Senate. So pretty much everything I said that I wouldn't do in life I'm doing. So I often say that one of my favorite scriptures is Proverbs 19:21. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Bless you. So, I'm just incredibly grateful for this moment and for this opportunity to be a part of this university leadership and having the opportunity to pour into the lives of our students that will, of course, have generational impact. And so I'm very grateful. This still doesn't feel like work. I'm, in wrapping up what will be the end of my 5th year as president, and this still doesn't feel like work. So I'm grateful. I really am.
That's wonderful. Tell me, okay, I want to shift gears a little bit and do what our segment we call Buzz Breaker. And we just kind of ask you different questions to kind of get more insight on you. And I know I want to first start by why you chose to pledge Kappa Alpha Psi, or Kappa Alpha Psi. Is that how you say it? Kappa Alpha Psi.
That's it.
That's how you say it.
And look, all the guys that I looked up to, as a teenager in this community. Again, I attended the lab schools here on campus, so all the real smooth, suave, smart guys that I knew and looked up to, and many of them were in the world famed Tiger Marching Band as well. All the guys that I looked up to, they were all Kappas, and might I add, they were all really popular with the ladies too. So it was just a natural thing for me to be drawn to the Noops. So I mean that, and of course they continue to be my best friends in the world, and all the guys that I looked up to are still doing really great and have been so supportive of me in this role. So yeah, I mean it was the Noops of nothing for me. All right.
All my best friends are Kappas. I have nothing but love for the Kappas. I mean, everything you said makes sense. I mean, look at me today. I'm in a t-shirt and you're sharp as always. So I definitely understand that. So tell me something. What books are you reading?
I'm doing a lot of reading, quite frankly, but some books that I'm reading now. One of our students actually published a poetry book, Promise McCree, and it's A Rose for You and Me. So plug for the student, Promise McCree. And then one of our alums, Charles Blow, who's also a Kappa, The Devil You Know. And Charles, of course, is a graduate of Grambling, a New York Times columnist and a frequent visitor on CNN and MSNBC and all of that. So I've got Charles's book. Now here's another one that I'm ready to get started. It's The Sum of Us by Heather McGee, and it's how racism costs all of us. There's a financial cost to racism. So these are the ones that I'm starting now, and of course there's no shortage of reading material here in my office, and what I've really gotten into a lot is really listening to the audio books, because of it helps me as I'm out exercising, not focus on the sweating and the pain of exercise. So I do a lot of that as well.
Speaking of audio, what else do you listen to? What's on your playlist?
So I'm really a jazz guy, and contemporary gospel. So typically on my Pandora stations, I've got some good Kappas on there. Marvin Sapp and oh God, what's Smokey Norfolk. So those are two of my tops. And then of course Marvin Winans is just, he's so amazing. If I could sing, I'd want to sing like Marvin Winans. That would be my goal. But I like a lot of instrumental jazz. So Dave Koz and Kenny G and Norman Brown. Those are some of my favorite artists.
Interesting. I thought you was going to say something like Rick James. How Kappas. They love them some smooth, but I get the jazz.
Yeah,
I definitely get the jazz.
Had you asked me that question 30 years ago, my playlist would have been a whole lot different. I can promise you. I can promise you that. But of course, the father of four kids, four sons. I don't get to listen to or watch what I want to listen to or watch more often than not. So it's usually what my kids want. Of course, the ones that are at home, my youngest, Joseph, just turned 8 last week, and then our 15-year-old AJ, they always have, and Christopher's a 9-year-old. They tend to control the TV and the radio. So I just get it in when I can, man.
I understand that. I'm gonna ask you one more question. If you could attend Grambling State today, what 3 courses would you register for?
If I could attend today, I would probably double major in our cloud computing and cybersecurity programs. So we've got the first and only bachelor's degree programs in both cybersecurity and cloud computing. Look, those cyber jobs, entry level jobs, are in the 80,000 plus range. On cloud computing, those entry level jobs start at about $110,000 a year. So if I were coming to school at Grambling today, that's what I'd be in. Yeah, I'd go for the money, man. Go for the money.
Well, that's interesting. I want you to do something for me. Walk me through the transition of Grambling State, the history of Grambling State,
sure,
and till today.
So we were founded in 1901 here in rural north central Louisiana. A group of Black farmers got together, and of course you're talking 35 years post-slavery. So there really weren't any educational opportunities for Black kids in this area. So a group of farmers got together and they wrote to Booker T. Washington at Tuskegee, asking him to send someone to start a school. And he sent Charles Phillip Adams to start the school back in 1901. We, of course, started from very humble beginnings. Most folks not only didn't have an education, but they had no money. So it was very common for students to pay tuition through, chickens and other, vegetables and other commodity that they, that was really all they had. So we started very, from very humble beginnings. Progressing on, we became a college and were awarded or given the opportunity to award bachelor's degrees in 1940. So our first bachelor's degrees that were awarded in 1944 were in teacher education, and we had 59 graduates, one male, out of the group in teacher education. So that's really how we got started as a teacher training institution, and we've grown now to really be great in a lot of areas, but primarily, you look at our computer science department, which again is responsible for us now having the cyber and cloud programs. We graduate more African Americans in computer science and computer information systems than any other school in the state of Louisiana. At one point, we were actually the number one in the country, and it is our aspirational goal to regain our number one position. But certainly here in the state of Louisiana, we graduate more than LSU and ULL and Southern and everybody else. We are the number one producers. Our criminal justice program is is a really big. It's our largest program on campus. We have graduates who are doing all sorts of work across law enforcement, corrections, all around the country. Our biology department is our second largest program now, and we have a pipeline to Meharry Medical College for medical school, as well as LSU. We've got other pathway programs for our students, our biology pre-med students who are going on into the medical field. So those are just a few of the programs that we're really proud of now. But we started very small and very humble, and so we have that connection with Tuskegee as having provided us with our founder.
Sorry, I was on mute. I every time I think of Grambling State, I think of all the rich legacy in the city. And I think for me, I'm always trying to figure out how I can bring prospective students to the campus. Mm-hmm. And when students, let's say you're a junior in high school and you're looking to attend Grambling State, and, a lot of times when you compare schools like LSU or whatever the case may be in the city, what they're asking is, like, where's the diversity, or, what makes Grambling State stand apart, right? So I just want you to speak to the prospective students right now that are interested in Grambling State. What do you tell them when they're looking to attend your university?
Sure. So, the one thing I'll start with is that our motto is we're the place where everybody is somebody, where everybody is somebody. And we take that mission seriously, because when you think about it, especially in our country today, with all of the racial unrest that's taking place, all of the white nationalism that's taking place, our students need to go to a place where they will be celebrated, not tolerated. Celebrated, not tolerated. And in this HBCU community that we have here, students will know that we're invested in them being successful. This is not just, we check the box, you come in, you pay tuition and go on about your business. No, we provide you with an environment where you can be comfortable in your Blackness, first of all. Okay, so if you want to wear your hair natural, or if you want it braided, or if you want to wear locks, whatever it is, you're free to be unapologetically Black. And I think that's important. And that's one of the reasons why I think we're continuing to see our enrollment grow. With the pandemic, all of the so-called experts predicted that higher ed would see anywhere from a 5 to 15% decline in enrollment. We've seen just the opposite. Our enrollment grew in the fall, year over year by 4%, as well as this spring. And we're in the middle of a pandemic and we're continuing to grow. Why is that? Because we are providing an environment for students to really, be able to realize their full potential and have people who are championing them to be all that they have the potential to be. And I say it all the time when I'm out, well, at least when I used to recruit, out at schools and things, is that, we will meet students where they are and help take them where they have the potential to go. And there are a few students I usually like to, or former students I like to highlight. I think about a young lady who came here from Dallas. She was in every play that we had, every talent show, all the pageants. She was really trying to perfect her craft as a singer and as a performer. Now, she appears in yearbooks during that period as Erica Wright, but the world knows her as Erykah Badu. And we all know that Erica, has her own style. And so you can come to Grambling and be an Erica Wright who has her own style and won't be judged for it. She was celebrated for it. And there's so many others who have come through Grambling and have really gone out to quite frankly, change the world, change the game by being who God, intended for them to be, without being judged or somehow dissuaded from following who he made them to be, to conform to somebody else's environment. So those are just, some of the things that I think are just incredibly important for, for our students to have a place where they can come and be who they are. You're on mute.
Sorry, that's so interesting. When I think of, all the reasons why people attend universities and what they're looking for, I think of the celebrity pool. I think of, what inspires me to, see people and be like, okay, they went to that university and this is why, what they did, and here's the pathway to get there. So can you tell us a little bit about, like, your notable alumni at the university and what they're doing in the community?
Sure. So how much time do I have?
Yeah, all the time you need.
All right. Yeah, and again, there are a few that you probably have heard of. Doug Williams. He was a lanky kid from right outside of Baton Rouge who let his brother Robert talk him into coming to Grambling, and of course, had a stellar career here. Was a finalist for the Heisman Trophy, first round draft.
I'm a Redskin fan, so
oh, you are okay.
Well, the Washington Football Club now,
but yeah. So and of course, to be the first Black quarterback to start in a Super Bowl, and the first Black quarterback to be named MVP in a Super Bowl is significant, and so now when you talk about not only his career and all that he did in football. We have launched the Doug Williams Center here on the campus for the study of race and politics in sports. And so when you think about so many of the real pioneers in the struggle for racial equality, Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali. So many athletes who were at the forefront of really making people take note of the struggles of Black folks in this country. Many of our athletes were have continued to be on the forefront. LeBron James has really elevated his voice and his platform to bring attention. My frat brother Colin Kaepernick. Who else has elevated the conversation of the condition of Blacks in this country like Colin has done? And, for all that he was criticized and banned from the NFL. I wish he was a Grambling alum, and I know I'm veering away from the question a little bit. But again, getting to the point of athletes being at the front of that conversation and raising our national consciousness about race relations in this country. You know, the athletes have been at the forefront. So we've got the Doug Williams Center, and really excited about the work that group. When you look at the advisory board, oh my God, you know, Magic Johnson, of course, is on our advisory board. Mark Davis, the owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Richard Lapchick out of Florida is on the. I mean, we've got, you know, a list of you know, of notable you know, celebrities and former athletes and others who are part of this center to really try and capture this moment and elevate the conversation of race relations and how we can further use sports in advancing that conversation. Other alums, Tom Moorhead. He is originally from Monroe, Louisiana, which is about 30 minutes from here. Got his degree, moved to Michigan, and was introduced to the car business. He is now the only African-American Rolls-Royce, Lamborghini, McLaren dealer in the country, Sterling Auto Group in Sterling, Virginia. Grambling grad from very humble beginnings on the south side of Monroe, who now, you know, is the only African-American Rolls-Royce dealer. You know, that's someone you may not have heard of before, but certainly you're familiar with the brand, right?
Oh, I'm gonna take the note, because, you know, I'm from the DMV area, and I it's good to know I have a friend up the street that can, you know, give me a discount or two. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely. You just tell him I sent you. He'll take good he'll take good care of you. You know, we've had so many others. You talk about you know, the all of the civil rights litigation that's going on. One of our alums, Daryl Washington, there in Dallas. Has represented several families in the Dallas metro area and others in the state of Texas who have been the victims of police brutality, you know, either by injuries or death. He represents the family of Botham Jean, the gentleman who was shot by a Dallas police officer, you know, in his own apartment. So he represents that family. So we've got you know, civil rights lawyers who are at the forefront of advocating for civil rights in this country. Grambling grad. Coincidentally, and just recently she retired from this job, but Renee Hall was the police chief in Dallas. The two of them at times were at odds with one another, both Grambling grads, at the center of you know, real racial issues confronting Dallas, Texas. So, you know, the thing that I say about that is, you know, at Grambling, we don't teach you what to think, we teach you how to think. And so, you know, although they were on opposing sides of this, we were very proud of the fact that we had two Grambling Knights who were at the forefront of national attention on the Dallas, Texas area. So those are just a few. Again, I could certainly go on and on. E40, he's Graham fan.
Wow. No, that's a big one. I think a lot of kids in LA would be happy to know that.
Yeah, and look, another Miko Marks, and you may not have heard her, but she was on Billboard here recently. She's a country western singer, and now there seems to be more attention being focused on country music and the lack of diversity in country music. You know, Miko's been singing country music for 20 years, and you know, really has just gotten to the point where she and other you know, Black country singers are beginning to be noticed for their talent and being accepted more into that. So it's Miko, M-I-K-O, Marks, M-A-R-K-S. Check her out. She's in Billboard here within about the last week or so.
So dope. All I hear is diversity. All I hear is diversity amongst careers, people going in so many different directions. And I love the rich legacy that you guys are putting together. I mean, when I think about your university, I'm always curious. Well, let's shift gears a little bit. I want to know, what today are you guys focused on at Grambling?
So technology is certainly an area that we're we're laser focused on. Again, when we were confronted with planning a new library here on campus, we didn't want the library of yesterday, or the library that I studied in as a student here. We were looking to have something that would speak to the library of the future. And so a lot of our focus now is how do we capitalize on this technology growth and be a meaningful player in that. Again, I talked earlier about the starting salaries in cyber and in cloud computing and in computer science as a whole. You know, these are jobs that are going to grow. That sector is the only way that sector will shrink is if the Russians just completely destroy our energy grid and we have no electricity to power our computers. Otherwise, that's an area that will continue to grow. And so as we look at McKinsey and others who are projecting what the workforce of 2030 and beyond will be, a lot of it will be technology based. And so we're doing a lot in terms of making sure that our curriculum is diverse enough to have a portion of technology baked into that curriculum. You know, we've got faculty in our English department using data science in evaluating literature. You know, you can use data science across any discipline. So again, we're looking for opportunities to tie our students into technology in all of their respective fields. You know, we have a program that we're working on that will bring together psychology and cybersecurity. You want to get in the mind of a cyber criminal to be able to understand perhaps what's motivating him or her to pursue a certain type of cyber crime. Those are two areas that we're working on a new program that will marry those two areas. And so, you know, again, our students will see that. And I talked about our Wi-Fi. You know, we've got you know, the fastest Wi-Fi in the South. You know, any student who comes to Grambling will be able to connect up to 7 devices. 7. And of course you're thinking, you know, what students got 7 devices? Well, there's a smart TV, there's a smartphone, there's a tablet, you know, there's a gaming system. There are all these electronics that students are bringing, and we have the infrastructure to support the students that we have here. So technology is a huge part of you know, of the present and the future of Grambling, and we're investing heavily in it.
It's awesome. I know we talked about the present day and everything that you guys are doing on Grambling, but imagine me being an outsider, and you know, I'm not an outsider because I've been on campus a bunch of times. I love it. But my question to you is primarily trying to figure out or how you can explain the culture of Grambling State. What is it like being on campus?
So, and of course, you know, we're all sort of trying to get adjusted to the whole pandemic. And the point I want to make, you know, has been impacted by you know, by COVID. But typically, you know, students walking by one another, you know, greet each other and speak to each other. It's really more of a family type of environment. And I visited the AT&T store. This was about a year or so ago. This was before the pandemic. And we had a student who was working there. And so we're talking as he's providing service for me. And he said he had gone to, I almost said the school. He went to another school for summer school. And he said it was just such a different environment that nobody spoke to anybody. You know, it was just that he didn't feel that love on that campus as he did, you know, on ours. And so again, that's one of the things that I hear from students that they really appreciate the family atmosphere that they get here. I mean, Gram Fam is not just a hashtag. It is at our core who we are. We are a family. We're a community of people who are cheering for each other. You know, there's no outside group on our campus who's cheering for your demise or cheering for, you know, you not succeeding, you know, are fearful that you're going to get that job that mama and daddy said you would, you know, be guaranteed. everybody here is pulling for everybody else because we all want to see us be successful. And so, and there's a certain, I think there's a certain confidence that comes with being in a community like this. So, for instance, when you go over to the science building, that's Carver Hall, okay? So that's named for George Washington Carver. Or you go to Woodson Hall, that's named for Carter G. Woodson, the father of Black history. He's the one who started Black History Week that ultimately became Black History Month. We have buildings that are named for Tubman and for, Pinchback, who was, Black Lieutenant Governor in the state of Louisiana. You're surrounded by Black excellence. There are no buildings or streets on this campus named for Confederate generals. Okay, and I think again that speaks to being at a place where you feel accepted, you feel celebrated, and you feel like the whole team is cheering for you to be successful. So I think that's the real difference. Not to mention the fact you get a great education, in the process. And when you had many schools and not just HBCUs that were struggling to make the pivot to online instruction when COVID-19 hit, we've invested so heavily into our digital infrastructure that from an infrastructure standpoint, it was an easy pivot for us. Now, obviously, we had to go through a period of getting faculty and students ready to engage only in a virtual environment. But from a technology standpoint, we had everything ready to go. It was just a matter of pushing everybody into the virtual environment to then begin the class process. That not all schools were in a position to handle it. Some of them just didn't have the technology wherewithal to make that pivot, and that's why you see a lot of schools that lost a lot of enrollment because they just didn't have the technology to support the change.
Yeah, I mean, COVID has been devastating for all of us. I think even firsthand for me, I caught COVID probably the first week or the first couple of weeks that it happened, or that we figured out what it was. And I think for me, it was just trying to figure out what the next steps were, trying to figure out how to move forward from this with my team, trying to figure out, my family situation, stuff like that. So can you tell me a little bit about how Grambling dealt with the COVID-19 and what you guys are doing to prepare for a new world, or the world we currently live in?
Sure. So I will tell you, we've got an amazing team here on campus. And so, I was at a system presidents meeting in Baton Rouge the first week in March when Louisiana had its first confirmed case. And so at that point, we all knew that, that we needed to accelerate whatever planning we were going to do in order to be able to handle this moment. And thinking back to my legislative days, and of course we have natural disasters that that hit us on a pretty regular basis, but this was different. Okay, trying to prepare. I mean, that there's certain things you can do, in a tornado or in a hurricane, but how do you prepare for a pandemic, something that this country hasn't faced, since 1918? So we pulled all of our campus leaders together, including our students, of course, to begin putting in place a protocol to address it. Everything from masking and social distancing. Our dining partner, Sodexo Magic, thankfully, they already had a pandemic playbook ready to go. So that was very helpful. Our students never missed a meal, as far as, through the pandemic. We were able to continue providing the necessary services for our students. And once we went online, of course, we did give our students the opportunity to leave campus and go home. Some, quite frankly, were safer being here because many of their communities were being devastated by the pandemic. So This was something that we, unlike, Harvard and some other schools that, gave students 72 hours to vacate the campus, we knew that some of our students, didn't have anywhere else to go, or some of them, where they would go would not be as conducive to learning as, remaining here on campus. So we continue to provide those services for our students through the spring semester. The summer and fall, we were pretty much all online, but we again still provided students the opportunity to come back to campus. We typically have a little over 2,000 students on campus in our living in our residential facilities. Last spring, when the pandemic hit, we had about 1,900 students on campus. This past fall, we had about 1,800 who were here. So despite a pandemic, our on-campus housing was still essentially full. And this spring, we're pretty much in the same posture. So we know that for a lot of our students, having access to Wi-Fi, having a dining facility that is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, having access to these basic necessities is something that we've continued to be able to provide our students. And again, some of them just quite frankly, don't have home situations that would have been conducive to them continuing to learn. So, I'm very, very grateful. Our students have been amazing. You see them walking around campus wearing their mask. I remember early on, we had some students who were playing Uno out. They had like some oversized Uno cards, and they were all socially distanced and playing Uno out in front of one of the residence halls in the on the green space. They've really been resilient in and have been just really great in addressing this pandemic in a way that has kept us from having any major outbreaks or anything like that. A case here, a case there, but really nothing like what we've seen at some other campuses. And it is because I think they understand that the pandemic has disproportionately impacted Black and brown communities around not just our country, but around the world. And so they have taken seriously their responsibility to stay COVID free themselves, as well as not putting anyone else's lives in danger. So I'm grateful to our students and to all of our team members who really rose to the occasion, and we're still strong coming out of it.
What about the vaccine?
Sure. So
how are you guys prepared? I was just gonna wonder, how are you guys handling that, and what are the next steps that you guys have taken? Are you guys preparing to take the vaccine?
Sure. So personally, I've had both shots, both Moderna shots, and I didn't have any complications whatsoever. All of our nursing students who are out doing clinicals, they all got the vaccine, as well as our nursing staff, our nursing faculty. We've also had other students in social work and some of our other programs that have internships where they're out in the field. We've made the vaccines available for all of them as well. I just got a call yesterday evening from the Secretary of the Louisiana Department of Health and Hospitals offering to set up a vaccination site here on campus. And so we're now beginning to try and put that in place. The Louisiana National Guard will come in and set it up, and they will run it. And we, I think, having that access for not only for our students, but faculty and the community, the surrounding community, I think will certainly be, something that will be beneficial for everybody around. So, I respect and understand some of the concerns that are out there as far as, the safety or the efficacy of the vaccine. But I think that if you listen to the scientists, Dr. Fauci and others, and really if you're a believer in science and what the medical experts are saying, then I think the risk in taking the vaccine, I believe, is lower than the risk of having COVID. And of course, you've had it. I've not had it, so I may be speaking out of school. You may tell me, dude, you don't know what you're talking about because you hadn't walked in my shoes. So I respect that as well. But from what I know, I think that the vaccine is something that that is going to ultimately get us as a country, closer back to what we expect as a normal life in this country.
The second I get a chance to take the vaccine, I'm gonna take it. I personally feel like it's my duty to make sure I'm safe, anyone around me is safe. So I'm definitely gonna take it. And it's just the right thing to do,
Mm-hmm.
of course. And that kind of concludes our interview. But before we go, I really, really want to know, and it's funny because the first thing, anytime I think of my legacy, first thing I start with is, the impact I've given my communities based on, obviously HBCU Buzz, joining Omega Psi Phi, the greatest fraternity on the planet. I'm also a member of, I'm a Master Mason as well. And, I always think about those contributions that I've done in those organizations and how those have helped me shape my legacy. So I just want to know for everyone that's watching, all the people that's on our fan page and stuff like that are tuning into this conversation, what do you want your legacies to be, and how can you summarize that to speak to your audience?
So, legacies, quite frankly, are what others perceive your accomplishments or your failures to have been. For me, I think this is something that God has sent me out to do. This was not something that was on my 5-year to-do list. I had gotten out of politics. I was just minding my own business, coaching my sons in t-ball and practicing law, and really enjoying a private life when conversations began about the possibility of me becoming president here. And so Scripture speaks to doing things to honor God, not man. And so I believe that because I know that God has placed me here to do this work, to make the lives of so many people better, then the legacy will take care of itself. And when God sends you out to do something, whether you're David going out to fight Goliath with the slingshot and 5 smooth stones, he will provide you with what you need to be successful in what he sent you out to do. So whether it's our partnership with Magic Johnson and Sodexo Magic, that has been such a phenomenal relationship for the university, not just in hard cash dollars, but also just the relationship that when people see, oh wow, Grambling's partnered with Magic Johnson, that speaks to the quality of what we're doing here. We're partnered with Adidas, and a result of that was our band having the opportunity to perform for Beyonce. How many college students out there will be able to say that they met Beyonce in Coachella, California? Okay. Not every student has that opportunity. And these are things that have really come together and almost fallen in our lap. They reached out to us and said, hey, we're trying to put this event on for Beyonce's rollout of her Ivy Park partnership with Adidas. We want the Grambling band. Those are things that, and our students are the ones who get the benefit of that experience. So when you talk about legacy, I know that 80 students who went to Coachella will always remember that experience with her. Okay. And so, as far as the legacy goes, that really is not, that's not something that now I do. I joke with my wife all the time whenever she wants to throw out my high school Letterman's jacket. And I told her, I said, now, no, you can't throw that away. That's going in my library one day. I say that. But really for me, it's really just, being grateful that God has placed me in this position to positively impact the lives of our students who, are really, that's why we're here. You don't need a president if you don't have students. And if we're going to have students, they're going to be the best, most successful students anywhere. That is our mission. That is what we're committed to. And so if anything, I think to be able to say at the end of the day that we elevated the standing of the university, we made our students better, and they in turn were able to go out and change this world for the better, will be the best legacy anybody could ever pray for.
Amazing. Well, that wraps up our interview today. That wraps up today's President's Corner. I just want to thank you for joining, and yeah.